Hello guys, how you guys doing tonight? This is the Club of the Man 1993. Here for just a random little video that I debate about was really that important for me to do. But, you know, sometimes it's like, I want to do a video. I don't know if this is really going to be that important of a topic or like, even that important to share. But I still felt like I would put this little story that's, nothing major or anything. Could be just like a flash in the pan. But just how a certain person's death to me kind of reminded me of another way I never thought of how I gained one of my passions in life. And I'm going to just share that little story. And because some people die and you feel like you don't have any reason to, have much of a memory of them. Well, someone who died today reminded me of something. I'm like, that kind of makes sense now as to how I got into this or that or whatnot. And that's what I was reminded today when I found out that Michelle Trachtenberg, actress who's best known for her roles in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Harriett the Spy, Gossip Girls, Ice Princess, a few others, unfortunately passed away today, February 26, 2025, at the age of 39. The reports are out so far that all we know is that her mother found her unconscious around 8 o'clock this morning in her apartment in New York, and police arrived at the scene and pronounced her dead immediately. No, forced entry. It's been confirmed. Well, they're saying that now until the autopsy comes out, she died of natural causes. Apparently, though, recently Trachtenberg did have a liver transplant. So right now, until we get confirmation, they're thinking that the liver transplant may have caused some complications. So that is the pending cause of death currently for Trachtenberg. Now, here's the thing, though. I've never seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I've never seen Gossip Girls or any of the other ones that I mentioned. I did, though, read Harriet the Spy when I was in like 4th or 5th grade for some competition that we had called Battle of the Books for those grades in my school. But that's the crazy part is that when we do this video, like I said, I only know Michelle Trachtenberg for one role she was in. And I know it wasn't really an important role to her. But this movie, despite the fact that it's not one of the highly rated movies, I actually looked it up on IMDb earlier today, and it only has like a 4.2 out of 10 rating. Yeah, not good. But when I thought about, some things I learned from, some like the just what that movie, that copy of that movie and the DVD for it kind of introduced me to as a young child. The only role I know Michelle Trachtenberg was in was that I've seen was the first Inspector Gadget movie in 1999. Now, yes, I know you're all probably groaning, saying like, Mike, why the heck are you sharing this? Well, this is going to be very cliche, but like I said, sometimes somebody's death reminds you of some things. So, for those of you who know, I graduated college with a TV video degree. I unfortunately, though, haven't really been able to progress a solid career with it, which is why I've gone a different route with my career. But I still, do like YouTube or other stuff for fun to still live out that dream if I never get to actually live it out in person again. And I feel like, so the first Inspector Gadget movie was actually the first ever movie I owned on DVD. I was given to it by one of my aunts who they're looking to get rid of it, but they know I had seen the movie again on Disney and really liked it. And she let me have her copy of Inspector Gadget. So, although again, I know the movie is not highly rated. Like I said, it's a 4.2 out of 10. I think the most criticized thing about that movie is that it isn't consistent with the cartoon series. Which, I can understand for sure why people soured on it. But I still thought it was cool. Especially also since it was filmed actually in my home city, Pittsburgh. But what stands out to me about that DVD to this day is not only did it introduce me to, the technology of the DVD player and everything, that was the first movie that I saw like behind the scenes stuff for. Because there was like some, I forgot what Disney called it, but it was some like behind the scenes movie. And I thought it was really cool. Because at a young age, I think I was like 9 years old at the time when I first saw this. It was cool to see the fact that although, you see the characters, you don't get to see the actors. And to see, these interviews of like Matthew Broderick, which, just to make an argument here, I think Matthew Broderick was a much better Inspector Gadget than French Stewart was. I'm sorry, nothing against French Stewart. I know he is probably a good actor, but the few movies I've seen him in, I feel like he gets miscasted. I feel like he comes across, the way he acts, he portrays, he doesn't come across as someone who looks like they should be like that smart or that much of a villain. Because I think he was severely miscast as Marv Merchants in Home Alone 4. But that movie sucked to begin with. And Inspector Gadget 2, although that movie kind of goes a little bit more consistent with the Inspector Gadget and Penny dynamic we got from the cartoon series, I still feel like French Stewart was not a good pick to be Inspector Gadget. I didn't feel like he fit the role as the more proactive Inspector Gadget than what we got in the first one. I think Matthew Broderick, even though once again I know the critic is that it's not consistent with the cartoon series, I think Matthew Broderick portrayed a much better Inspector Gadget in my opinion. Where's it going with this? But yeah, that behind the scenes movie, I remember. Like, hearing those interviews from Broderick or Rupert Everett and like Jolie Fisher, it was cool for me at a young age to like be able to have this experience of like seeing these like behind the scenes stuff and hearing from the actors themselves, like the normal people they are. And I was just like, that's actually pretty cool. That's something, that I would like to do. And then but besides the fact that, because like those interviews were like, like clips you see through like any like documentary or whatnot. In that behind the scenes video, they actually did have like an actual like sit down interview where they were actually like asked questions on camera, like ones we see of course today and whatnot. And the person that they sat down with was Michelle Trachtenberg, of course, who played Penny. And I feel like that was a good pick to do that for, because especially she was like 14, 15 years old at the time, especially a movie geared more towards kids. That's probably someone that they're going to want to learn more about, because they can relate, because she's their age, pretty much. And I still remember that interview, and I mean, like I said, it's not the most standout thing in the world, but as a young kid, I just remember being like wowed by that whole behind the scenes video. And I feel like that's also around the time where I started wanting to like, pull out the old VHS video camera, make random videos. And it led to me eventually, even I had a couple of people, mention, I'm like, I don't think that's a career or whatnot. I think that's what led to me getting my passion for like being involved in like videography and like video editing and like filming things and like, interviews and other concepts and whatnot. I feel like, again, despite the fact, again, the movie itself, Inspector Gadget, I know is not highly rated, and again, it's not Michelle Trachtenberg's biggest role, I still feel like, thinking about it more today, that DVD and like the bonus material and like the behind the scenes video on there as well, I feel like that kind of led to me getting a passion for, something I'd like to do. And again, unfortunately, it took Trachtenberg's sudden death today to make me realize that. Because I've always thought about, like, yeah, I remember, when I edited a video in high school for the fun of it, for the volleyball team. And everybody was praising how great of an editor I was. And people were like, you should go and do a career in that. And all this stuff. But I feel like when I thought of like that behind the scenes video, I was like, that deserves a little more credit, I feel like, than I've given it. Again, not that it's the most important groundbreaking thing in the world, But it's just a story that I kind of thought of today. And again, it's sad that it had to be because of the sudden death of Michelle Trachtenberg. But, you know, in some ways, it's like that's one way I'm going to remember her. Like I said, I may not have seen what other roles she was big in. I can't remember what the movie was called. There was one movie, maybe when I was in like middle school or something, where I remember seeing the advertisements for it. I can't remember what it was called, but I just remember hearing the song "Shut Up and Drive" in the advertisements that she was in. But yeah, every time I heard her name, the first thing I thought was that Inspector Gadget movie. And then, of course, like I said, like the behind the scenes stuff. So that's how I'm going to remember Michelle Trachtenberg. Again, I know she was probably phenomenal in the other roles, the bigger roles that she played in. But that's how I'm going to remember Michelle Trachtenberg. As somebody who kind of was a part of something that introduced me to one of my passions in life. And that's the art of video making. So, my thoughts and prayers, though, do go out to Michelle Trachtenberg and her family, and her friends, her colleagues, everybody who's worked with her for sure as well. People who were part of Inspector Gadget for the crew there, since that's why most remember her for. Like I said, most likely a liver transplant complication, but we'll find out probably in the coming weeks what did happen with Michelle Trachtenberg. Again, guys, Michelle Trachtenberg, actress known for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Gossip Girl, Harriet the Spy, Ice Princess, Inspector Gadget, many more. Unfortunately passed away today, February 26th, 2025, at the age of 39.